Thanks, Matt. For now, back to David.
Ladies and gentlemen, like I said before, the rage on the Red Sea, a stacked undercard, and these next two fighters are in a great fight that I cannot wait to see. 12 rounds for the WBC Light Heavyweight World Title Eliminator. And now making his way to the ring, his professional record, 21 victories, 1 defeat. He has 12 wins coming by way of knockout. He fights out of Hénin, Beaumont-Pas-de-Calais, France. Please welcome the European and WBA Intercontinental Light Heavyweight Champion, ranked number 2 in the world by the WBC. Please welcome Mathieu Lavanto Borderlic.
Mathieu Borderlic is 33 years old, and he arrives here with a very good record on paper and a worthy challenger in what is being billed as this WBC light heavyweight title eliminator. As an amateur, he was one of those that took advantage of the rule change and actually campaigned in the Olympic Games, even though he was formerly already a fully fledged pro. Eventually went on to win Olympic bronze. Back as a fully fledged professional, he's a European champion and he's a southpaw. Perhaps not one of the marquee names in the light heavyweight division, but Callum Smith, by all accounts, will have his hands full against a very, very live opponent in Mathieu Borderlic.
Yeah, very accomplished, good amateur pedigree, experienced as a professional as well, European champion. So, you know, genuinely has earned his place in this final eliminator. So this is a real fight, a proper fight. Callum obviously up now in a new division, but I think one that was more than overdue really to step up. I still think Callum has been the more proven as a professional. He's got the better wins, the better resume, and I expect him to be the favourite in this and to win. But absolutely can't be looking past this, and it has to be at the top of his game.
He's got some decent names on the record, but the one that stands out the most is the one in his last professional bout. Igor Mikhalin retired after 7 rounds. Mikhalin had been in with the likes of Sergei Kovalev in 2018. And his record on paper is 21 wins with the 1 defeat. That was a 1-round defeat by Dragan Lepai. But he did have a series of fights in the APB, which was effectively pro fights under the AIBA banner. So it's not actually recognised on their professional record, but he does have more wins than the 21-1 that's on his professional CV. I'm always intrigued at this sort of part of the week when we have an opponent come in and he's fighting someone like Callum Smith, and it is all eyes on how he speaks at the press conference effectively, but the media workout as well. He's actually going to do a little bit of work, it looks like. So first things first, looking at stature, you would think that Callum Smith looks slightly taller because Callum Smith is a big guy at 6'3". They're billing Borderlic at 6'1". And I think that's probably accurate. He does look about 6'1", but Callum Smith, albeit a former super middleweight, is effectively a big guy even at light heavyweight. Yeah.
I mean, people were shocked when you'd see Callum and you say, what weight was he? And he'd say, no, he's super middle. They thought he was like a big light heavy. It used to shock people that he was able to make super middle. So like we said earlier, I think it's a move up in weight that was probably long overdue for Callum Smith.
Let's just give them a chance to start this media workout, Matt, and then I'll get you to give a few observations there. He's very much on the balls of his feet, and as we already mentioned, he is boxing out of that southpaw stance.
Yeah, I mean, he's quite bouncy. He did go back and box in the Olympics. A bit amateurish by looking at him here, even though he is European champion and he is a professional and an accomplished professional. But the way he's shaping up here, bouncing very much on his toes, in and out, light on his feet.
I wonder what he will have seen of Callum Smith. Callum was riding that crest of the wave for a very long time, and obviously he's coming off the back of that spectacular one-punch knockout on the Usyk Joshua undercard, their first meeting at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Yeah. No, Callum's got serious power. He's carried it up with him. southpaw can be open for the right hand down the middle. That's a shot Callum carries serious power in. And that catch and counter left hook that Callum throws, that's one of his funny punches too.
You're a man that boxed on big cards. For someone like Mathieu Bauderlique, this is not like any other stage that he's ever boxed on before. I suppose at this point it is sink or swim. Callum Smith, the thing you would say is he has been around the world, he's even boxed here in Jeddah before. How much of an advantage will that be? Yeah,
big advantage, because he won't be, not only is Callum Smith the most, the hardest, the best, most accomplished, most known opponent, it's a big step up for him. It's also, it's the media workout, it's all the cameras, it's the world boxing media, that can overawe people sometimes. They can feel, they get the nerves, but also it could bring the best out in him. People you only make the step by making the step, but I think, it's a tough ask for him. I think Callum's the favourite, but at the same time, Callum can't afford to take his eye off the ball or look past him, because he is an accomplished opponent.
He's a career light heavyweight, and Callum is obviously still relatively new in this division, and whilst we keep banging on about how big he was at super middleweight, just saw a little bit of grappling and wrestling on the inside there from Bauderlique, and I just wonder if he feels like, despite the size difference of 2 inches, he may well be able to bully Callum Smith slightly. Let's get back over to Master of Ceremonies, David Diamante.
Round of applause out here from Mathieu Lavantor Bauderlique.
Paul, it's rolling substitutes. We want you in the middle so we can hear you. Great to see you, Paul. See, your brother is fighting Mathieu Bauderlique. We're not going to speak to him because he doesn't actually speak any English. But from what you've just seen there, what can you take away from a media workout? And what have you actually seen from Bauderlique? And what are you expecting from Callum?
Absolutely nothing. You don't take nothing from it, do you? It is what it is. Everyone gets in and messes around. You see southpaws turning orthodox boxing southpaw. But I've watched a few fights of his on YouTube and had a little look, and very high elbows for me. I think he wastes a lot of energy. I think he's quite erratic in his movement. He could conserve a lot more energy, and with someone like Callum, the way he moves, especially being under Buddy McGear for the last 2 fights and the last 12 weeks on and off, 13 weeks on and off. He did 4 weeks in LA and 5 weeks back home when Buddy came over. Macklin will tell you all about Buddy. He's got to move a bit more fluent, a bit more creeping forward with the feet rather than taking big steps. Got him punching better, jabbing better, letting his hands go a bit more. Simple boxing, the basics. And
very textbook.
And when you've got someone like that in front of you, constantly closing the gap and constantly squeezing you, it'll make him more erratic, I think, and leave himself open to more faults and more shots that be landed for Callum.
Paul, stay with us because it's your brother's turn now, Callum, and we want us to stay with us. Let's get back over to David Diamante, I should say. I'll put my teeth back in.
Ladies and gentlemen, as Mathieu the Frenchman steps out of the ring, his opponent now makes his way into the ring. Once again, 12 rounds for the WBC Light Heavyweight Championship World Title Eliminator. This gentleman makes his way to the ring with a record of 28 victories, only 1 defeat. Fighting out of Liverpool, England, he is the youngest of the 4 fighting Smith brothers. And in 2018, right here in Jeddah at the King Abdullah Sports City, he won the World Boxing Super Series when he knocked out George Groves and won the Muhammad Ali Trophy and became the super middleweight champion of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, ranked number 1 in the world by the WBC at light heavyweight, please welcome Callum Mundo Smith.
So Callum Mundo Smith returns to the scene of arguably his greatest night as a professional. He would beat George Groves here in Jeddah to lift the World Boxing Super Series trophy, but also become a world champion.
International Boxing Hall of Famer, his trainer, Buddy McGirt, ladies and gentlemen.
And Buddy McGirt gets an introduction as well. I can see Russ Amber up on the turnbuckle. Paul, Matt gave us a little bit of an insight into what it was like training under Buddy McGirt. What's he been like up at the Rotunda? Has he blended in and mixed in with the Scousers?
He absolutely loves it. He loves being around. So I've just said to Matthew then, when just before you put on it, it's been hysterical having him around for like 5 weeks in Liverpool. He's last time we stayed in a hotel, this time we got him an apartment, and every day after the gym there's a big group of lads, all our mates, and we all go for coffee, food straight after the session, and he fits in completely. He's loving it. He's Martin said, yeah, there's one line as comical. He's got a line for everything, and he's just comical. Honestly, it's hysterical having him around.
You mind if I ask you about Callum? What's the difference between Callum Smith, who was squeezing himself into that super middleweight frame, and the Callum Smith now at light heavyweight? Presumably he's a lot happier on fight week, but one of the big questions I've got is how much of himself was he leaving on the floor when he was trying to take that weight off?
People used to ask me and say, is he struggling at the weight? And I'd say, and again, you know, the fella next to me knows everything about boxing as well. It wasn't difficult for him to make it, but he wasn't recovering well. He wasn't carving up well. He was leaving something there. The weight cut for his first fight at light heavy was exactly the same as it was at super middle, and his body fat was exactly the same. So that says it all. It was a lot of fluid that was probably coming out and not getting back. There was muscle that he was certainly probably withholding. His body fat stayed the same, and he gained 7 pounds and weighed in bang on the limit last time. You know, and it's the same amount of weight that he had to lose the night before. This time, he's a nice kid anyway. He'll never get angry or snappy like the rest of us. But he is a better person around. The team has been good. You know, everything around fight week now has been great and just relaxing and pleasant. And you know, we have a little walk in the day, go does a little bit of work if he needs to in the night like this. Now he'll only be probably shadow boxing now. He's been around the block now a few times. So public workouts are what they are. But really excited to see him perform on Saturday night after again another camp with Buddy, learning new things, changing a little few things what he had in the past that weren't going right for him, and I'm really excited to see him, even though he's my brother and I see him every day in the gym. Fight night's totally different in it.
It's a question probably for Callum and the wider team, but I know you're very much part of the discussion. This is an eliminator for the WBC. Do you believe that he's ready for a world title next, that he doesn't really need to hang around at that fringe world title level and need warm-ups, that he could go in straight away off this fight if he wins on Saturday?
Yeah, listen, all the negotiations are down to Callum. Callum's got a team around him, and Callum's the boss, and Callum will instruct the team what to do, but that's not me. And for me, as again, Matthew might have a similar opinion on this, you're not getting any younger. What's the point in waiting round and having a couple of fights that might be risky? People mentioned before, I got done an interview before, and he was saying about a domestic fight with the likes of, say, Buatsi, Callum Johnson, everyone else. And I don't think any one of them would want to fight Callum Smith as much as Callum wouldn't really want to fight them for a domestic title. So why not go for the title next? If he wins this fight, he's mandatory. Get in there and go for it.
Once again, give a nice round of applause out here. Former champion of the world, Callum Mundo Smith from Liverpool, England.
Callum, good memories of Jeddah?
Yeah, the best. Obviously, the highlight of my career so far, becoming the best in the world, was here in Jeddah, and I never thought I'd be back here, but it is good to be back, and hopefully I can add some more memories.
It's been a long time since we last saw you. It was the first Joshua Usyk fight. Has it been frustrating?
Yeah, definitely. As a fighter, you want to be kept active. I've always felt I've been at my best when I've been active, but you can't get used to it in boxing. Things aren't as straightforward. I got told I was going to be on this show in April. It got pushed back a little bit, and I just kept getting pushed back month by month, but I didn't waste those months. I was always in the gym. I was always trying to improve, and I feel like I've had a good camp under Buddy again, and I feel like I'm a better fighter now than what I was, before I went to him. So I've used the time well, and hopefully we'll see some of those improvements.
And now a big opportunity.
Yeah, massive. The game's to be a 2-weight world champion. I've been there once, I know what it takes to get there again, and a win this weekend puts me one step closer.
Okay, good luck.
It's a nice one, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Well, Paul Smith has stayed with us, and Paul, I'm intrigued to sort of tap into what you're thinking towards this main event, the big rematch, Alexander Usyk and Anthony Joshua. Your thoughts on the first fight and what we might see on Saturday once that first bell rings?
I really like Alexander Usyk. It's hard not to. I'm a fan, but I love Anthony Joshua, and I hope he does it this time. I wanted him to do it last time. It was nice being able to sit close and watch it, and I felt he just got the tactics completely wrong. I don't know why he tried. For me, in my opinion, I don't know why he tried to box Alexander Usyk, who's an exceptional boxer and is where he is for a reason. It's easier said than done. Put it on him, stick it on him, and go for it. But you've got to go for it. There's no other option. I don't think he's going to beat Usyk on points. I think he's got to go for it, try and stop and try and get him out of there. Use his size, use his abilities as fighting and making it rough for him, using all his attributes that he's got and the advantages that he's got, and try and go for it. If he lands, which he did land a few times last time, but for me, I don't know whether you noticed yourself, he with arm shots. He wasn't really committing fully into the shots. If he let some shots go, puts it all in early, I think he's probably got 6-7 rounds to do it, unless he catches him with a decent shot late on, which that's more down to chance than what you can actually do tactically. I think he's got to go for it early, put it on him, set a pace, let his shots go, let his hands go. He can catch him. He's caught him before in the first fight, and I think he can do it. It's a big ask, but I think he can do it.
I'm fascinated because both of you were brilliant body punchers in your time. It's a bit of a narrative that's gaining a little bit of momentum. You know, could Anthony Joshua perhaps start to target the frame of Alexander Usyk? I just wonder what you think about that.
Definitely.
It's one of anything, isn't it? But
my dad was telling me, I didn't watch it because we were in the car, but my dad told me about what he said yesterday, what Billy Graham used to say. It's not your mate. Throw all the niceties out the window. Just turn into the nasty person for the day and just go for it. Just put all your work into him, put everything you've got into it. Hit him any way you can, especially to the body, target the body. He stepped up in weight too, so obviously I think he looks in decent shape, to be fair. I thought he looked a little bit fleshy in the first fight. The pictures and the footage that I've watched of yourselves, he looks, to me, a little bit tighter and a little bit like he's grown into the weight a bit more. But muscles heavier than fatty. He's going to be carrying a lot of extra weight on his legs,